Imagine this. You're staring at the charts, your heart beating just a little faster, your finger hovering over the button, and for a brief moment, everything feels clear. No fear, no hesitation, no noise. You enter the trade, and it flows exactly as you saw it. Smooth, effortless, almost like the market is working with you, not against you. And then just as quickly, it's gone. The doubt comes back, the second guessing returns, and you find yourself asking, why can't I stay in that state? You felt it before, that rare moment where you're calm, focused, and in complete sync. But you can't hold on to it, and that frustration starts to build, because deep down you know that version of you is the one that wins. So what's stopping you? Is it strategy? Is it experience? Or is it something much deeper? Something you've been ignoring this entire time? Because what if I told you that entering the zone has nothing to do with the market and everything to do with mastering what's happening inside you? This is not about trading. This is about you. Chapter 1. The moment you realize you're your own enemy. Picture this. You're sitting in front of your screen, watching the candles move, telling yourself, this is the one. This setup is perfect. You feel the rush, the anticipation, the quiet voice inside saying, don't mess this up. But you click anyway, and within minutes, everything starts to shift. The market hesitates, pulls back, and suddenly your confidence begins to crack. Your thoughts get louder. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should close. Maybe I should wait. And before you even realize it, you've sabotaged the trade, either cutting it too early or holding it too long. And as you sit there staring at the result, frustration hits you hard. This is not fair. But deep down, you know the truth. This is about the market. This is about you. Let me tell you something. The moment you start blaming the market is the moment you lose control over your growth. Because the market didn't hesitate, you did. The market didn't panic, you did. The market didn't force you to click, you chose that. And this is where everything changes. When you stop seeing trading as a battle against charts and start seeing it as a confrontation with yourself. Understand this. Your mind is not built for uncertainty. It craves control. It wants to be right. It wants certainty in a place where none exists. And that's why every tick against you feels like a threat, not just to your account, but to your identity. Because you're not just trading money. You're trading your beliefs, your ego, your need to be right. The market is a mirror. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't reward effort. It reflects who you are under pressure. It shows you your fear. It shows you your weakness. It shows you your weakness again and again and again until you finally see it. And here's the emotional cycle. You start with hope. This could be it. Then excitement. I'm finally getting it. Then ego. I can't be wrong this time. Then loss. Then fear. Then panic. And finally silence. That heavy moment where you realize something deeper is broken. And it's not your strategy. This is where the real battle begins. Ego versus discipline. The part of you that needs to win versus the part of you that needs to follow rules. And most traders, they choose ego every single time. But the ones who enter the zone, they make a different choice. They build a system, not just on charts, but inside their mind they stop chasing certainty and start embracing probability. They stop trying to control outcomes and start controlling themselves. Because trading was never about predicting the market. It was about mastering the one thing you've been avoiding, you. And once you see that, really see that, you can't go back, because now the question isn't, what is the market doing? The real question is, are you? Chapter 2. The illusion of control that keeps you trapped. Imagine this. You've just lost a trade, and instead of stepping back, you lean forward, tighter, more focused, more determined, telling yourself, I'll get it back. I just need one good trade. Your eyes lock onto the screen like you're hunting something, like the next move is yours to control. You adjust your entry, tweak your idea, convince yourself you've figured it out, and for a moment, it feels powerful. It feels like you're in charge again, but then the market moves. Not the way you expected, not the way you needed, and that tight grip you had starts slipping. Frustration builds, anger creeps in. Why is this happening? And that's the trap, because this is not about the market, this is about you. Let me tell you something. Control in trading is the most dangerous illusion you will ever believe in, because the more you try to control the market, the more it exposes how little control you actually have. And that realization, it scares you. So what do? You double down, you analyze more, you force more trades, you chase, you react, you fight, not realizing you're feeding the very thing that's destroying you. Understand this. Your brain is wired to seek certainty. It wants patterns that guarantee outcomes. It wants to feel safe. And when you trade, you trick yourself into thinking you can create that safety. But you can't, because every trade is uncertain, every move is unpredictable. And no amount of control will change that. The market is like the ocean. You don't control the waves. You don't command the tide. You don't tell it when to move. You either learn to flow with it, or you get dragged under. And most traders, they try to fight it again and again and again until they drown in their own expectations. And here's the cycle. Hope pulls you in. Excitement makes you believe. Ego tells you you've got it figured out. Then the loss hits. Fear tightens your chest. Panic clouds your judgment. And suddenly, you're no longer trading, you're reacting blindly. This is where the real war begins. Ego versus discipline. The need to control versus the ability to accept. Because discipline doesn't mean controlling the market. It means controlling your response to it. It means letting go even when everything inside you wants to hold tighter. The traders who enter the zone, they don't chase control. They surrender to probability. They accept that anything can happen. And because of that, they stop reacting emotionally. They stop forcing outcomes. They become calm, precise, present. Because trading was never about controlling the market, it was about releasing the illusion that you ever could. And once that illusion breaks, really breaks, you're left with a choice. Will you keep fighting something you can't control? Or will you finally learn how to let go? Chapter 3. When the market stops fighting you and starts reflecting you. What if I told you the market was never fighting you? Not once, not ever. It just felt that way. Because every loss felt personal. Every missed move felt like rejection. Every win felt like validation. Like proof that you mattered. And somewhere along the way you stopped seeing charts and started seeing yourself, your worth, your intelligence, your identity, all tied to every single trade. And that's why it hurts. That's why it feels heavy, because this is not about the market. This is about you. Let me tell you something. The moment you think the market is against you, you've already lost the clarity you need to win. Because the market doesn't know you. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't reward you. It doesn't punish you. It simply reflects what you bring into it, your patience, your fear, your discipline, your chaos. The market is a mirror, a ruthless one. It shows you everything you try to hide. It shows you your hesitation right before you click. It shows you your greed when you refuse to exit. It shows you your fear when you close too early. It shows you the truth, again and again and again, until you stop blaming the reflection and start changing what stands in front of it. Understand this. Every trader goes through the same emotional journey. It starts with hope, this could work, then excitement, I'm finally getting it, then ego, I've figured this out, and then loss, sharp and undeniable, followed by fear, tightening your chest, then panic, clouding your mind, and finally, that quiet moment where you sit there, staring at the screen, realizing something deeper is happening. This is where everything shifts, because now you're faced with a choice: protect your ego or build discipline, hold on to the need to be right, or step into the mindset of probability. Because the market doesn't reward certainty. It rewards those who can act without emotion, who can follow a system even when it feels uncomfortable. And here's the truth. When you stop trying to win every trade, when you stop reacting to every movement, when you stop making it about you, something strange happens. The noise fades, the pressure disappears, the need to prove yourself dissolves. And suddenly, you're just observing, just executing, just flowing. This is the beginning of the zone, not because the market changed, but because you did. Because trading was never a battle to be won. It was a reflection to be understood. And now the question becomes, if the market is only showing you who you are, Are you ready to face what it's been trying to show you all along? Chapter 4. The Death of Ego and the Birth of Discipline. Picture this. You finally catch a winning trade, clean entry, smooth movement, profit building, and for a moment it feels incredible. Like everything is clicking, like you've cracked the code. And then that voice creeps in. See, you figured it out. Your chest rises a little higher. Your confidence turns into certainty. And without even noticing, you stop following your rules. You hold longer than you should. You risk more than you planned. You start believing you're different now. Better, smarter, untouchable. And then the market shifts. Fast, sharp, unforgiving. And just like that, the profits disappear, maybe even more. And you sit there stunned, asking yourself, how did this happen? But deep down, you already know this is not about the market. This is about you. Let me tell you something. Your biggest losses will not come from ignorance. They will come from ego, from that subtle belief that you are in control, that you are right, that you don't need to follow the system anymore. Because once ego takes the lead, discipline disappears. And when discipline disappears, you are no longer trading, you are gambling. Understand this. Ego doesn't shout, it whispers. It convinces you gently. Just this once. You know better now. Trust your instinct. And those small moments, those tiny deviations, they compound, they build, until suddenly, you're far away from the structure that once protected you. The market is like gravity. It doesn't argue. It doesn't warn you. It simply pulls you down the moment you lose your balance. And ego is what makes you lean too far. It makes you forget that the only thing standing between you and chaos is discipline. And here's the emotional journey again. Hope gives you the courage to start. Excitement fuels your momentum. Ego convinces you you've arrived. And then the fall, loss, fear tightening your chest, panic rushing your decisions. And finally, that quiet realization, that painful clarity, where you see it clearly. It wasn't the setup. It wasn't the timing. It was you. This is where everything changes, because now you're standing at a crossroads. Ego versus discipline, comfort versus structure. The need to feel right versus the commitment to follow rules. And this decision, it defines everything. The traders who entered the zone, they let their ego die. Not once, but every single day. They accept that they don't know what will happen, and they don't need to. They trust their system. They execute without attachment. They think in probabilities, not outcomes. Because trading was never about proving you're right. It was about learning to act without needing to be. And once you truly let go of that need, once ego stops driving your decisions, a new version of you begins to emerge, calmer, sharper, more controlled. But here's the real question. Are you willing to let that old version of you die, or will you keep protecting the very thing that's holding you back? Chapter 5. Inside the zone, where fear, greed, and time disappear. Imagine this. The screen is in front of you. The candles are moving, but something feels different this time. There's no rush, no noise in your head, no urge to force anything. You're just watching, calm, present, aware, and when the setup appears, you don't hesitate, you don't question, you don't overthink. You simply act, clean, precise, almost automatic. And as the trade unfolds, you're not glued to every tick. You're not emotionally attached. You're just there, observing, allowing, and for the first time it feels effortless. Like time has slowed down, like the market and your mind are finally in sync. And then a thought hits you. Is this it? And right there, that subtle awareness, that tiny shift, pulls you out of it. Because this is not about the market. This is about you. Let me tell you something. The zone is not something you chase. It's something you allow. It's what happens when fear steps aside, when greed goes silent, when the need to control disappears, and what remains is pure execution. No emotion, no attachment, just clarity. Understand this. Most traders think the zone is about confidence, but it's not. Confidence still carries ego. It still needs to be right. The zone is beyond that. It's a state of acceptance, where you fully understand that anything can happen, and because of that, nothing shakes you. The market in this state becomes like a rhythm, not something you fight, not something you predict, but something you move with, like a dancer following music, not forcing the beat, but aligning with it. And when you're there, everything feels lighter, decisions feel easier, not because they are certain, but because you've removed the weight of needing them to be. And here's the emotional shift. Hope no longer pulls you in. Excitement doesn't spike your energy. Ego has no voice. Loss doesn't break you. Fear doesn't freeze you. Panic doesn't exist. And what replaces all of it is acceptance. Deep, unshakable acceptance. This is where ego and discipline finally separate. Ego needs results. Discipline needs consistency. And in the zone, discipline wins without effort, because it's no longer forced. It's who you are. The traders who live in this state, they don't trade to win. They trade to execute. They don't measure success by profit, but by process, by how well they followed their system, by how controlled they remained. And because of that, the results take care of themselves, because trading at this level is no longer about money. It becomes something deeper, a form of self-mastery, acquired control over your own thoughts, your own reactions, your own identity. And once you taste this state, even for a moment, everything changes. Because now you know what's possible, now you've seen the version of you that doesn't fear the market, doesn't chase it, doesn't fight it. But here's the real question. If the zone requires you to let go of everything you've been holding on to, are you truly ready to surrender, or will you keep chasing control and miss it every time? Chapter 6. Becoming the trader who no longer needs to win. Imagine this. You take a trade, and it loses, clean, simple, nothing dramatic, no emotional spike, no frustration. You just sit there, calm, almost unaffected, and instead of thinking, I need to make it back, you think, did I follow my process? And the answer is yes, so you move on. No revenge, no hesitation, no need to prove anything. And in that moment, something feels different. Something feels free, because for the first time, winning doesn't define you, and losing doesn't break you. And that realization hits deep. This is not about the market. This is about you. Let me tell you something. The moment you stop needing to win is the moment you finally start trading like a professional. Because the need to win is what creates pressure, and pressure is what distorts your decisions. It makes you force trades. It makes you hold too long. It makes you exit too early. All because deep down, you're trying to protect something. Your ego, your identity, your need to be right. Understand this. As long as every trade feels like a judgment of who you are, you will never be consistent, because you will always react emotionally, always defend, always chase. And that cycle, it never ends. Hope, excitement, ego, loss, fear, panic, over and over again. But when you shift, when you truly accept that each trade is just one outcome in a series of probabilities, something changes. You stop attaching meaning to individual results. You stop making it personal. And in that space, clarity is born. The market becomes just data, just movement, no longer a threat, no longer a validation, just an environment where your job is simple. Execute your edge over and over again, without hesitation, without emotion. This is where ego and discipline finally settle their battle, because ego needs to win now. Discipline is willing to lose now, to win over time. And that difference, that shift in perspective, is everything. The traders who reach this level, they don't celebrate wins. They don't fear losses. They respect the process. They trust their system. And most importantly, they trust themselves to follow it, no matter what. Because trading at its highest level is not about predicting the future. It's about controlling your present, your thoughts, your reactions, your behavior, moment by moment, trade by trade. And here's the truth. The zone is not a place you visit anymore. It becomes who you are, a state of being where you are grounded, focused, and completely detached from outcomes. Because in the end, trading was never about making money. It was about becoming someone who no longer needs the market to feel complete. And now ask yourself, if you no longer needed to win, if you no longer needed to be right, who would you become, and how would you trade then? finally ready to face yourself.